ladies and gents, and welcome back to Star Citizen with Mags. So as many of you know, there will be many professions in Star Citizen. Traders, pirates, bounty hunters, mercenaries, and many more. These professions are the staple of any good large-scale space game. However, today we are going to talk about another option that is less common, the professional racer. In Star Citizen, players will have the option of making a living flying the various tracks around the verse, potentially by running a professional racing team. And if we're going to have racers, they need ships designed for the task. This is the Origin Jumpworks 350R, one of the four 300 series models that include the common but popular 300i, the luxury touring ship of Star Citizen, the 350P for exploration, the 325A for interdiction and combat, and the 350R, which is built for one thing and one thing alone: speed. The 350R features a striking gloss black and yellow gold paint job, black leather and chrome interior that give it the feeling of being a high-cost luxury sports car, and as such reminds me of the high-end European performance cars, the kind of car that teenagers pin posters of to their walls. Its appointments are pretty much the same as the 300i, however. Same weapons, same shielding, same thrusters, but the difference is in the engines. The 350R trades its size 3 power plant for a size 4 and trades its single size 4 engine for twin upgraded size 4s. This changes the equivalent of ripping out the stock motor in the car and swapping it out for an oversized supercharged monstrosity, and makes the 350R one of the fastest ships in a straight line in the verse. So let's take this overpowered monster out on the track. And we're off into the first lap and through the first ring. Now this wouldn't be a Mags video if I didn't mess up in some way. So into the first corner, and I totally undercompensate for the drift slamming into the side of ring 2. Thankfully I didn't destroy the ship and I was able to recover and get back underway. So, welcome to Old Vanderbilt Racetrack. This is Star Citizen's equivalent of a tight street circuit, only this circuit has you racing in both the vertical and not just the horizontal. Star Citizen's racetracks are made up of a series of ring checkpoints floating around the track, and as you just saw, they are quite solid, as is everything else you see. Missing a turn or going wide can often cost you a lot more than just time, and hitting a building can actually destroy a ship, forcing you to respawn. As with real-world racing, it's not just about how fast you are going, but also how precise you are, keeping control of your ship at all times in all situations, and it's not easy. Today I'm flying with dual sticks, as I've never had much luck racing with the mouse and keyboard, and this was bloody hard. The verticality means picking your lines may not be as obvious as you think, and a bad drift can put a floating skyscraper between you and your next waypoint. And bad drifts are easy to come by in the 350R. As I mentioned earlier, the 350R is basically a 300i with a bigger power plant and two powerful engines rather than just one. No changes were made to the thrusters that guide and steer the ship at all, meaning that the engine performance now severely overpowers the strength of the thrusters. This in real world terms is like putting a supercharged 900 horsepower engine in a luxury sedan without upgrading the suspension or tyres. It goes fast, but is incredibly difficult to control. Now while skilled pilots can use this drifting action to their advantage, I'm not a skilled pilot, and as a result I'm flying with ComStab enabled. ComStab, as I explained in a previous video, is like traction control for spacecraft. When the ship's lateral inertia is higher than the ship's forward velocity, ComStab disables the main engine and fires the thrusters automatically to counter the drift. This will keep me on a good racing line, but will slow down my overall speed and thus my lap time. Now this may change after patch 3. Currently Old Vanderbilt, while being based in a planet's atmosphere, is using the same Newtonian physics as space, so there is no drag or lift at all. After patch 3.0, Old Vanderbilt is due to be updated with atmospheric flight physics, and the 350R has a lot of wing and body area, so that drag and lift may be a game changer when it comes to ease of control when racing. But for the moment, we are essentially racing a tight street circuit in space. So as we make it through the apex of the loop and head for the final checkpoints, lining up for the home straight of lap 2. Star Citizen's races consist of 3 laps around the circuit and are limited to small to medium sized spacecraft. Each race generally lasts for less than 4 minutes and consists of multiple players. In this case there were only 2 of us, with the second player flying what appeared to be a Vanguard Warden. Honestly, in a 350R, even with ComStab enabled, this race wasn't particularly fair. Much like the combat arenas, the races in Arena Commander can earn you rec for rental of ships or equipment, and due to the rapid pace can be a good option for rec grinding. 4 minutes of twisting and turning can earn you almost the same amount of rec as 12 waves or potentially 30 minutes of Vandal Swarm, with consecutive races taken into account, can net a much higher rec per hour than the Swarm, providing you can keep up the speed and don't get a DNF or a did not finish. With the races also serving as a great training point for learning the manoeuvring capabilities of your personal spacecraft, providing they are supported for racing of course. There is also a leaderboard with a competitive multiplayer scene. To give you an idea of how fast the races can get, the current track record holder for Old Vanderbilt is a player by the name of Blackhawk of Test Squadron. He has a fastest race time of 2 minutes and 4.75 seconds with a fastest lap time of only 40.09 seconds. This blistering pace being achieved, I believe, with Origin's M50 Interceptor. But what about the 350R? Well, there is not much else to say. It's an advanced pilot's racer, incredibly fast but difficult to control on a tight track due to its 20-ton mass and low-powered thrusters in comparison to its monstrous engine output. It is worth noting, however, that all the 300 series ships are planned for an overhaul in the future, so that may change this. However, for the moment, as is, if you like to drift, you'll love it. If you like sharp cornering and precise turns, you better be a fantastic pilot, or perhaps consider one of the other races. So there we have it. Best lap time of 1 minute and 10.01 seconds, and that was good enough for 450th place on the leaderboards for old Van der Waal. But let's be honest here, you don't want to see a 450th place lap, now do you? Enter JNuz and his 350R, a much better pilot than myself and a member of the top 50 racers on the old Van der Waal track. I'm going to let his racing do the talking here. Strap yourselves in for 46 seconds of insanity, and remember to click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and as always, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you around the verse.
Lap complete. Checkpoint. 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 Lap complete. Checkpoint.